subsidy. We have reports that President Bola Tinubu on Tuesday said the removal of subsidy on petrol is targeted at freeing up budgetary resources for critical investment. Tinubu spoke during the 17th Annual Chartered Institute of Bankers of Nigeria Banking and Finance Conference in Abuja. Now, Vice President Kashim Shettima, who represented him at the conference, said his administration has taken steps to reform Nigeria's macroeconomic environment. Though painful in the short term, the removal of fuel subsidy is designed to free up budgetary resources for critical investments in infrastructure and social services, a move that is aimed at curbing inflation and fostering a more market-oriented exchange rate system. Also speaking at the event, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, Mr. Wale Edun, assured that government would alleviate transportation costs by enhancing supply with 25 million litres starting in September through the Dangote refinery. Okay, we'll come back to that particular part of the story. Just leave it at that part of the story. But let's look at the statement first off about the fuel subsidy and the removal, and it just being, even though it might be temporarily painful, at the long run, it will yield good results. Is it a school of thought that you stand on or agree to?
Well, I do not understand the end of the result of the removal of fuel subsidy because I'm not in government. But what the Vice President is saying and what
we've been told,
the coordinating Minister of Economy, is that it's for the best interest of our infrastructure and our social best life, which I think they may be right because they are the drivers of these policies. But speaking from the angle of Nigerians, which is those people who are not speaking for government, I like to say that the effect is very harsh, like Mr. Vice President has acknowledged. And we have always said that though the wonderful policies for cushioning the effect of this fuel subsidy removal is not really affecting the general public of Nigerians, and the intentions and most of the programs that government claim they have rolled out is not actually visible. And had it been the visibility is there, that we would have commended those initiatives that the federal government, the president has approved and funded as if it were. So, but hence we are not seeing those results. It looks as if the removal of fuel subsidy is a curse rather than a blessing. And I've also said here that in a way of still trusting that promises in view of removal of fuel subsidy to ensure that Nigerians get a better future and a better life, even though some are feeling that the fuel subsidy was not actually removed by the recent occurrences. But let us agree with the federal government that it has been removed, that the state government, who also have very big chunk of our resources, our local government chairmen, ought to have also put up measures to alleviate this effect of fuel subsidy. The fact that we all keep on pushing the blame to the federal government, for me, is not the correct one, because federal government will do theirs, the state government will do theirs, the local government will do theirs, because these are the tiers of government that receives funds, allocations on behalf of the people's welfare and security every month. So for anybody to let me feel that it's about Mr. President, I always beg to disagree. Because I feel that if Nigerian states are doing well, just like the United States of America, the states are doing well because the governors of those states are trying to do well in those states, even though not all the states are doing well in the United States. But at least you can understand that each of the states are trying their best. So I want to believe that for us to begin to see more positive effects in the removal of the fuel subsidy, if it's actually done, I want to believe the government, because they are the managers of our funds and our resources, that the state governors should have made recommendations here on how Nigerians can survive, both in the northern and in the southern Nigeria, in this period under review. The hardship is on the high side. It is not time we are going to clap hand for any governor for building a very big road. Never. If the state's indigenes, the local indigenes cannot feed, it's not time we're going to clap for anybody because of the big hospital you are building. It's not time we clap for anybody because of one major infrastructure.
So what should we applaud them for?
The best applause we are going to give is that the welfare of the people, in terms of how to survive, in terms of feeding themselves
during this period,
going back to school. You get it?
All right.
This is the basic. At least they can have good access to health care. They can have good access to education.
Okay.
They can feed. I think these are the basic things we need right now.
Okay, thank you,
Ambassador. So the stomach infrastructure must be given a very key
before the road infrastructure.
Yeah, because we must be alive.
Let's go back to that part where reports said that, also speaking at the event, the Minister of Finance and Coordinating Minister of the Economy, that's what they're doing, assured that the government would alleviate transportation costs by enhancing supply with 25 million liters starting this September through the Dangote refinery. There have been fuel scarcity. Is this something that you would applaud, like Ambassador said?
Nobody can applaud fuel scarcity in all its reality.
The recommendation now, 25 million liters by this September.
You ask yourself very simply and very clearly, like I said earlier, if it was a private-run company that people are running this way, they are running Nigeria and the NNPCL, are you sure the owner of the companies will still keep these managers there? That's it's a sincere question that I don't want to know the side of the divide you feel you want to find yourself. It's a sincere question you should answer. Before the approval of the license of the Dangote refinery, what were the documents on ground? What were the agreements and arrangements to ensure that this Dangote refinery, the Nigerian government bought over 20% shares?
Yeah, it's
from
less than that.
Okay, less than 20% shares from this same Dangote refinery. Ask yourself, what was the driving force and what were they looking at when they were doing this? From an expert viewpoint, even from a novice viewpoint. Now, whatever reasons it was, is it the time we're supposed to be coming to discuss this issue? Just take it from 9 years different, from 2015 up until now. We have had a skyrocketing of more than, what's it called? It's more than 100%, it's more than 500% increment, or if not a 700% increment of the cost of petroleum. Now, the people that are claiming today to be the drivers of this economy, who have come out to say that they are not paying subsidy, but every investigation and reports have clearly come out to say that subsidy is still being paid. And even to a large extent, some embarrassingly damning reports and investigations coming to indict the government of the day directly or indirectly. Ask yourself, these were the same people that equally brought out money, because I've always been a unionist, I've always been an activist. When we stood for subsidy removal in 2012, it was because we were able to sincerely sit down and listen to some people who were saying that they were paying subsidy to people that they did not know. The subsidy process was so shrouded in secrecy and corruption that they cannot explain. And the government felt we are not mafias enough to use morale and muscles to say we are not paying anymore. Upon this trend, we are removing subsidy, and on January 1, subsidy was removed in 2012. We saw people that came out on the street for 20 whole days, ensuring that they stood there to ensure that subsidy was paid. And for this period that subsidy was completely removed, the Nigerian state can come out, anybody can come out to challenge my stance. I have never been a fan of any administration. I have never been a part of any party. The obvious remains that the government of the day was able to show the Nigerian people where and how much was saved at that point in time, and where it was kept, and what it was supposed to be used for. It was still on this subsidy not being paid that the mother of the coordinating minister and the finance minister at that time was kidnapped. Then we must look at the root cause of our problems. Who are the major problems of this country? Today you say you have removed subsidy and you are telling us that Dangote want to give us 25 million liters. At At what cost? With what minimum wage markup? With what level of economic boost is the government?
Sorry to cut you there, Chuba. You said at what cost. Now let's look at the part where the petroleum marketers have generally acknowledged the existence of the supply gap. Can we continue with that across the country? And they also blame it on the failure of Dangote refinery and the NNPCL to reach an agreement on off-taker price for the product. Now, you know, we had this argument earlier. I was in an argument or trying to understand when they said that Dangote said he only would just make it available. It's not in his place to fix the price. And then the NNPC said all of those things that I think we had this conversation here. But now with what the marketers have said, it is clear that the Dangote and the NNPC has a role to play in the off-taker price. That's from the onset, like from the price, which is what the marketers are saying they are waiting for, that agreement to be met. So do you understand that part of the story now?
Yes, it's been clear all the time. You know, what is the big issue? The big issue is how much are we going to buy from the Dangote refinery? That's the question that the NNPC have been trying to raise.
The NNPC?
NNPCL now.
They're trying to raise that question?
No, then. And they were like, if Dangote refinery will sell almost like what, or higher than what they buy
internationally,
that they may not buy. You are aware of that story. And it means that, like my brother Chuba was trying to raise, what were the agreement, what were the terms and all that. The way inflation is going on globally, especially in Nigeria, sometimes when you have an agreement right now, this month, certainly you may need to review that agreement the next month. You know, so I want to believe that the agreement in terms of setting up the refinery is different from transaction. And I think the area of being a shareholder is in the way of also generating revenue for the country. But again, mine will always been on the pricing that the common man will get it at the filling station. It is obvious that the independent marketers are waiting for NNPC to still buy and sell to them. Because like I opined the last time that if Dangote is going to sell the products in a price that is threatening to NNPC, how possible will independent marketers buy? Because over the period of years, the independent marketers has been buying from the subsidized.
But now the independent marketers actually, contrary to what you said, are not actually waiting for the NNPC for them to buy from Dangote. They are aware that the NNPC has said it is open for everybody. So if you want to buy from Dangote, feel free to buy from Dangote. But then, as much as we'd like to continue this Dangote story,